It is Friday, and thanks for joining us here on Weather Center Live. I'm Jen Carfagno.
And I'm Maria Larosa. We are tracking yet another day of severe weather, hail, damaging winds, even tornadoes, and of course, surrounded in Louisville by areas of heavy rainfall. So that flood threat continues for sure. And at this point, with the saturated ground that was already there and the additional rainfall, you know that that threat's going to continue. Take a look at this. This is just over the last 24 hours. You see that bullseye right there? Doppler estimating almost 5 inches of rainfall. And notice where it's sitting. You've got Lexington, Louisville. This is where those showers and thunderstorms have lined up since yesterday. And those reports are continuing to come in. You see right here, Highview water rescues, as we've been mentioning, just to the north and west of Louisville into Indiana. In English, a car was stuck in high water on Main Street. Folks there had to be rescued, and we're hearing about evacuations from apartment buildings. And there's the lull. Jen was talking about that. That's the heavy rain that came through overnight, but you have another batch. The only good side to this next round is it is moving pretty quickly, so it's not going to sit there and linger for hours and hours and hours. However, it is going to be rounds and rounds, and you guys can see that rainfall forecast, additional 1 to 2, maybe as much as 3 inches still to come over the next 24 hours, Jen. We are also dealing with both of these emergencies. Ashley Lee is near that fire in Louisville, and she joins us now on the phone. And Ashley, I know we were talking with you through the morning hours. You've been affected. You can see the fire, but you've also been affected by the flooding. Let's start with the fire. I understand you're fairly close and you can see the smoke.
And the flooding we're concerned about because there is more rain coming back in. This area can barely handle another ½ inch of rain before they could see additional flooding this morning.
And it's been a scary several hours for a lot of residents in that area. That can be unnerving, but great coverage last night of what was another active day for parts of Missouri there with Reynolds Wolf.
In the Joplin area, they had some hail that came through with that thunderstorm. They did not have a tornado, but more severe weather today, points farther east we're going to be tracking. So thanks for staying with us here on Weather Center Live. I'm Jen Carfagno.
And I'm Maria Larosa, but it's the severe weather. There's also that flooding.
Yeah, we're also concerned about severe weather when it comes to tornadoes and hail and damaging winds. Greg, a large area. This has been a busy couple of days, man.
Yeah, and it's actually not that different an area than yesterday. Everything's just shifted a little bit farther to the east, but all the way from the Ohio Valley to parts of the south, expect some severe weather today with a chance of some tornadoes. But even if there aren't any, we know severe thunderstorms are dangerous and pose their hazards with hail and high winds and, of course, lightning and even flooding as well.
There was a tree that fell on a tent in Kentucky yesterday, and a man lost his life. I mean, damaging winds are very dangerous.
Right. We have essentially, again, as I said earlier, the same setup, a lot of humid flow coming out of the Gulf of Mexico, and it's feeding this cluster of storms that's right now not severe, technically, but it is producing some flooding across parts of Kentucky. So that's going to be a concern for the next few hours across that region. A couple of these storms in this cluster may produce some high winds. There's one little curlicue that I found out here, right in here.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
It's not got a warning on it right now, but it's got that backward C component to it, which suggests there's some outflow coming in that might be pretty strong out of the west. So watch out along I-24 in areas just to the south of Madisonville for some.
Watching, you know, in here too, that little notch. So keep an eye on that. Yeah.
Exactly, Jen. Right in there. If I can draw that on here, if this is going to let me draw, let's try that again. Right in there. Watch out for some high winds. Again, just south of Madison. Not yet meeting severe criterion, but we'll see. That may change. The warnings could pop up instantaneously without any warning.
Really, later today is when you get more energy involved, more upper level energy involved in what's happening right now.
That's exactly right. We're going to continue with that humid air mass moving north from the Gulf of Mexico. All that green contouring there. That's the dew point that I put in there. So 60s dew points are widespread. We're going to have an upper level disturbance coming in out of the Rockies. And Jen, you were saying that upper level disturbance.
Yeah, I mean, this is why we had snow this morning in Denver. You're waking up to some snow out there. We saw it on the rooftops. That disturbance is the energy that helps feed thunderstorms in the Tennessee Valley.
Yeah, and that jet stream comes in. This cyclone, this low pressure system is going to be moving pretty quickly across parts of the Ohio Valley. And where it goes, we have to watch out for the enhanced threat for some strong thunderstorms and maybe a tornado, because it will be moving into an area of high available energy, so buoyancy for storms to grow big and tall. And of course, that strong wind shear across that region. It's at that intersection where we expect perhaps the worst of all the weather later on today.
This is your calling card now, Greg, is when you put this all together and you see where they intersect. That's it. And it was spot on yesterday, so today is as well, hopefully. Okay. Good warning on that.
Yes.
All right.
Now we have a graphic here. Now we're going to talk about the anatomy of tornadoes more generally. So this is going to be a really cool little segment where we talk about sort of the structure of the tornado itself. And let's have a look at on Max 46 if we can pull up the anatomy of a tornado. Do we have that for us? Oh, it's behind us. Let's see if we can do it here. We'll get this right for you, I promise. Let's have a look. And no, actually, we don't have that for you. What we're gonna do this time around is time everything out today with the severe weather, according to the forecast of the radar here. Let's go across the Tennessee Valley and show you that
this is actually really useful, the timing of everything today.
That's right. So this is, remember that area that we were overlapping before with the instability and the shear, kind of targeting this area for the development of some significant thunderstorm activity later on this afternoon. Not yet. We got to wait for the ingredients really to come in line, but I think that's going to happen right in that zone late this afternoon.
So we're talking, after lunchtime, maybe 1 o'clock, in between 1 and 5 or 6 o'clock, coming through Nashville. Then you got Chattanooga to look at. And Greg, what do you think about northern Georgia?
You know what? They're a little bit farther removed from the strongest wind shear aloft. That generally helps to keep storms alive longer and helps them produce severe weather more effectively. I think the strongest wind shear will be up here. So the farther south you go, I think the less of that you'll have to deal with. So perhaps less chances for severe weather down south. But doesn't mean it can't happen.
Right.
It's just more likely to be a little bit farther north.
Okay, great, thank you. Maria, back. No easier said than done, but yeah, don't worry about it.
I feel a little bit better. I do. I'm not the best of flyers. That would make me incredibly nervous, but science behind, it's good.
Yeah. All right, so we have a lot of lightning out there today, of course. And for folks from Lexington to Nashville, Memphis, Jackson, all the way to Houston, we're concerned about severe weather. That's in red, and then outlined in yellow are just general thunderstorms, which, anyone driving up towards D.C., Charleston, West Virginia, you're dealing with just plain old thunderstorms today.
So let's hit up a few areas, including in Memphis. Damaging winds, certainly a possibility. We've seen hail, large hail in particular, enough that you may be wanting to put that car in the garage if you have one, because that's enough to do some damage.
All right, we go up, and as we continue the storm threat for today, heavy rain has been a big problem for us in Kentucky all night long, and that's still going to remain an issue through today. But we also have the threat for storms that may bring damaging winds and large hail, and there is a chance of a tornado as well. 3 on the Torcon. You guys got a lot going on today in Lexington, and the timing for the worst weather is between 2 and 6 o'clock. We've got more rain, though, tracking in, so that first is going to be your concern, is the threat for flash flooding.
So when you see that break, if you have that break, don't think it's going to last all day. This is one of those things that will be well into this evening.
Tomorrow will be different for sure. Easter weekend will be a lot different across this whole area. And believe it or not, we are still using the word snow